Hello, good evening. Hello, Queen, Top Hats. Good to see you guys. Hope everybody's had a good day. I think if you haven't been over to the Rumble channel, we've been listening to the new book by James Patterson, Idaho 4. And there's also One Night in Idaho, 4 episodes are up over there on the Rumble channel. So you want to check that out. That new documentary, One Night in Idaho, is really good. It's a lot of new information. Okay. There's almost 3 hours left. And I will get that up right away. It's pretty good. What do you think about it, Top Hats? Hey, Legs. I really like it. I think it's good. It sounds bad to say I like it because it's a horrible thing. But, hold on one second. It is. Oh, right. It is. Yep. Sorry. Hold on. That light reflects in there. It drives me crazy. It is kind of heavy. You're right. That's why I say to say I like it sounds really bad. I just think it's done good. It's done well. Yeah. And those episodes from I think it's Hulu. I think. Oh my gosh. Or Netflix. No, it's on Prime. That's done really well. That was a lot of stuff I never heard before. So I thought that was really good. I totally recommend. Hey, Jerry. Hello, Kentucky woman. Hi. So yeah, I gotta say this. So in the episodes from the Prime documentary, Betty's in there, and so is JLR. And in the book, they mention JLR and they mention Olivia. Like, oh my God. How crazy, huh? Oh my God. There's something else. That is too funny. I'm not surprised, I don't think. But so I don't know if you guys watched. I don't really know how I feel about this. Oh, goodness. Well, I hope you don't lose power or your service. You guys have had a lot of storms. Oh, this. You know why I did this? For Preston Lord. His trial starts. The trial starts next week here in Phoenix. I know. I don't usually wear this, but I'm trying to. I just got it done today. Yeah, it was blue. Actually, this morning it was blue, but I just got them done this afternoon. So yeah, I'm gonna go to some of that trial. I don't know if it's gonna be live stream. I haven't figured that out yet. But if it is, I'm gonna stream it. But I am gonna try to go a couple of days. Oh my gosh. Oh wow, Jerry, that is great. Oh my god. Oh, we got a new car yesterday. So so I'm no longer stranded after a couple weeks. I'm not stranded anymore. Oh, did he? Top hats. I didn't notice that. Well, I didn't watch. I just listened. So I wanted us to watch it together because I didn't watch. Yeah, isn't that good? I'm so glad. Not having a car really sucked. We have an old truck, um, and it has AC, but it doesn't really cool it off, especially when it's hot. It's miserable to be, and it's huge. And I have a picture of my new car. Hey, Taff. Get the magnifying glass out. Okay, so there's the new car. We didn't go with. We almost. We really did love the MDX that we had a lot, actually, a lot. Um, but we used to have a Ridgeline several years ago, and we really have missed it. And this has all the features that the MDX had, and so. And what's really cool, I don't know if you guys know this about a Ridgeline. So, it's really got a lot of room in the second back, in the back seat. Plus, so whenever you can put the tailgate down or open it up, and there's a trunk in the bottom of the bed. I love that. Oh wait. Yeah, that's a really cool feature. Yeah. So I now do not I can go places now. Anyway, that's too funny, top hats. Right? That is funny. Oh my god. Oh my god, that is cracking me up. That was a good one. Okay, let's watch this together. I wasn't impressed. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rage about that in a second. Um, yeah, be careful that it's really hot here. That's so funny. Uh, what is she doing? What do you mean? What is Legs doing? Are you? Yeah, be careful. No, Jerry's right. Oh my gosh. Wasn't that? Yeah, I should play that, huh? Oh my God, you guys. You got to hear Ashley Banfield really went on a fit last night. Yeah. She was F-bombing all over the place. It was wild. Okay, I want to see if he smirks. I did not watch this. Right, Legs for reals. Right, Jerry? Wasn't that wild? She was pissed. Oh my God. I felt the same way. I did, but I was like, oh my God. I know. Yeah, we got to watch that.
In State v. Kohberger, CR 0124-31665. Present today by video is the defendant in custody with counsel, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Barlow, and Ms. Massoth. State is represented by Mr. Thompson, Mr. Hurwitz, and Ms. Jennings. On behalf of the media petitioners, we have Ms. Olson and Mr. Pedersen. Today's hearing is to discuss the media's request to terminate the non-dissemination order. The state filed a response indicating it was no longer objecting to that, and the defense did file an objection indicating that they do have a continued objection to lifting the non-dissemination order. I've read the briefs that have been provided by the parties, and I'm going to attempt to shortcut things here a little bit by asking whether the defense, who is the objecting party, has anything additional to add beyond what it had in its briefing before. I don't know that I need to hear from, frankly, the petitioner. I think the briefing was adequate, so let me just start with Ms. Taylor to see if there's anything else she wants to add.
Your Honor, there is not, but if there's further argument, Ms. Barlow will be making that argument on behalf of the defense.
All right. And to be fair, Ms. Olson, was there anything you felt was important to add that was not contained within your briefing?
Your Honor, we would just briefly say in response to the defendant's brief, we certainly understand the expressed concern about the media coverage of their client. We don't think continuing the non-dissemination order helps that at all. It simply continues to limit the ability of the members of the press to reach out to the people who know the most about the case. It doesn't obligate them to say anything. We also understand that they expressed that there was a due process right related to the sentencing. I read the case that they submitted. I think that there is obviously a due process right at sentencing, but I don't think that case is really it doesn't provide any guidance to the court here, because that was about information provided to the court. And given the very limited scope, and we understand it's very important, but given the very limited scope of what's to be decided at the sentencing, we don't think the arguments that Mr. Kohberger made should outweigh at this stage the First Amendment rights of our clients. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, in light of that response by...
Okay, I just want to say, yeah, he does. I agree with you, Top Hats, about the look on his face. I totally agree with that. And so is it just me, or did his eyebrows grow back really? Like his hair almost looked like they had colored it a little bit. Right? When during his plea agreement or his plea hearing, his hair looked a lot lighter. And his eyebrows either looked like they were really trimmed or lightened up or something. I don't know, but it looks like it's grown back. That's kind of wild. That was not that long ago. Oh my God. You're too funny, Legs. No, you're going to drop right there on the lawn if you don't stop that. I know, isn't it? Don't you find it weird? Like, how did they have him look that way just for that day? Hey, Queen. That's strange.
The media outlets or interested outlets. Ms. Barlow, do you want to add anything?
I would only say, Your Honor, as this court is well aware, the publicity in this case is so extensive and emotions are already so high that adding fuel to the fire of media interviews or a rush to interview people as they leave the courthouse or enter the courthouse would only increase the concerns that the defense has. And even though the plea has a specific sentence attached to it, as this court is well aware, things happen in plea hearings and, sentencing hearings. And to minimize the possibility of that, we request that this order stay in place.
All right, thank you.
It looked shorter and
All right,
lighter.
as the court has
Hey,
considered
Hey,
the
good to see you.
petition, frankly, the court was prepared at the time the plea was entered
Right.
to lift the non-dissemination order in order to give the parties time to evaluate that and to ensure I wasn't missing anything. When both sides objected, I agreed to continue the non-dissemination order. I also indicated that I would have the potential to look at that again before sentencing because, frankly, I anticipated the motion from somebody, in this case, the Ms. Olson and her clients, was likely to be coming. At this point, I do not believe the purpose of the non-dissemination order, the primary purpose, which is to ensure that we can seat a impartial jury, is any longer at play. The concerns identified by the defendant, while certainly not to minimize those, they are concerns and they are significant concerns. I do not think, however, the non-dissemination order and the right of the public to information is outweighed or outweighs those rights, I should say. And frankly, I don't think that lifting the non-dissemination order will meaningfully impact those concerns. I mean, the media frenzy, as it has been described, will continue regardless. It is a little bit like a, water will find low ground. In this case, the media is going to write about something regardless about this case. The lifting the non-dissemination order does not require the
We need to be very clear. This is stuff that public has a right to. Yeah. Oh, you saw that? Oh, okay. I'm going to play the Ashley Banfield one talking about that, where she's all irate. I can't either, Kentucky. I can't. You're right. You're right. They did. You're right, Jerry. They did. They put all their kids through school. he's a he acted like a shit ass. Obviously killing people is not a good thing, but he acted like a shit ass. Even besides that.
Counsel or others who were previously bound by it to speak, and the state has indicated they don't intend to until after the sentencing. And certainly I would hope that the media interests would respect those positions
Yeah,
and
me
give
too.
people the space that they need and request. In terms of, for example, the defendant's family and others coming and going at the sentencing, we intend to have, as we did before, appropriate security measures in place to ensure that they, as well as the victims, are allowed to get in and out unscathed by the media, if that's what they wish to do, or if they wish to speak to the media, they can do that as well.
Obviously, they can if they want to.
At this point, I just don't think that I can justify the continuation of the non-dissemination order. I think the rights of the public to information, in this case, is paramount, given the fact that a plea has been entered in this case, and so I'm going to lift the non-dissemination order. But I want to point out what that means and what it doesn't. So obviously, nobody's required to speak to the media, first of all.
Okay, and you know what? Another thing is, let me just be very clear. I would not by any means wish for anybody to, do anything inappropriate where his family is concerned. But I'm sorry, the media has every fucking right to ask you questions when your son goes and kills these people like this. That's just a thing. I'm sorry. I'm not even blaming them, but you raised him. He's your kid. People have a right to ask you. Obviously nobody has to take the questions. This guy is getting on my nerves with this, because to act like this is not something that we have a right to know about is bullshit. He does. He looks so freaking creepy.
Second of all, lifted and continues to stay in place. And so it's important to understand that those obligations still exist. And then the other thing I want to point out is that by lifting the non-dissemination order, that does not convert sealed documents to unsealed documents.
Exactly.
Documents previously sealed by the court are still sealed. Now, I see the media also filed a petition to be heard to unseal everything. I'm denying that outright, the request to intervene, because I think it's premature at this point. So the court will its intent is to, after sentencing, begin the process of reviewing all the sealed
Exactly right.
material in this case to determine what should be unsealed and what should not be unsealed. That process will include an opportunity for counsel to register any objections to unsealing documents, specific documents, and request to redact certain sealed documents before they are unsealed, or unseal them in a redacted form. I intend to do that in groupings of documents at a time. As I sit here now, my thought is I'm going to start from newest to oldest, because those are the ones that I have the most working knowledge of as to the reason for the sealing of the documents, as well as the content of those documents. And so I think I can get through those more quickly. As we move backward in time, it's going to take further, more extensive review by the court to figure out, to obviously review the content of those documents, listen to those hearings, et cetera, and determine why they were sealed and whether that rationale still is necessary, or that rationale still requires the documents to maintain that sealed status. And so before everybody gets out their pen and paper and sends in public records requests, understand those will be denied for sealed records until they are unsealed. And that process is going to take time. And I'm not talking days. I'm probably not talking weeks for that to be accomplished. So I hope people understand patience will be required to get through that.
Okay, see, that right there is what told me. Just show it. Why does he have a right for no one to see that stuff? What? This is so ridiculous. They spend more time these days trying to figure out how people can't find out information that they have a right to. And I'm so irritating. This guy is irritating the shit out of me.
As I'm going to have to review those myself to make those decisions. Now, we may be able to speed things up if neither party objects to groupings of documents or specific documents being unsealed. But it's important to review those because those documents may include information that, pursuant to Rule 32, are not to be made public, including birth dates, social securities,
okay,
information
and you
about.
know what? Okay, Pam Bondi, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Okay, that right there, seriously? Right, nobody wants that. Stop. That is so, don't even say it. It's stupid. It's common fucking sense. I mean, this just gets on my damn nerves. Fuck. Exactly. And everybody knows that that's going to be redacted. So what? Great. Whatever. I think they're going to redact a whole bunch of shit. Right. So stupid. Sounds like Pam Bondi. No one's going to see those videos. Shut up and act like we fucking asked for that. Nobody wants to see that garbage. Just talking to hear yourself fucking talk.
Minors and victims, and information that would be essentially inappropriate to unseal, including protection of individuals from undue harassment, et cetera. And so that's just going to take time. In addition, I'm unlikely to unseal much until after sentencing and after the appeals period has run. Now, I recognize the plea agreement includes a waiver of the right to appeal, but as the parties probably know, the U.S. Supreme Court in Garza versus Idaho has indicated the fact that a defendant waives the right to appeal doesn't mean they don't have the right to appeal.
Okay, did you hear him? After the sentencing, after appeals. What? Right. So exactly. This is everybody's going around all day saying, okay, well, gag order's been lifted. I don't think it has. As far as I'm concerned, it hasn't. It's all a bunch of fucking bullshit. See, that right there to me said, no, he's actually not. He did not lift shit. He did not lift shit, if you ask me. Listen to what he says. Fuck that. It is a sham. And it's bullshit. It's ridiculous because think about, I mean, just like the whole fucking Diddy trial, that was nothing but a fucking sham too. This is a crap is what it is. 100% fucking crap. Right. Yeah, to me, he didn't lift the gag order, not at all. Because an appeals process, first of all, I didn't think he was allowed to do that. Okay, but whatever. That will go on for the end of fucking time. Hey, pallets. That will go on forever. If that's allowed, which I thought it wasn't, this is bullshit. And if you ask me, this is not lifting the gag order. It's not. And let me tell you something else about some of these fucking people involved in this shit that they want to talk about. They act so annoyed by people wanting, these trials to be streamed and people wanting information about this stuff. But some of these people start to really like the limelight themselves. Look at how he's acting. Oh, if people weren't interested in this, nobody would know who the fuck you are or give a shit. And how would you feel about that? How would Ann Taylor feel about that? I don't think that they would like it. Fucking gag orders, period, are bullshit. I would love for someone to try to put me on a fucking gag order. Good fucking luck with that. I will say whatever the fuck I want to anytime I want to. About any damn thing I want to. Yeah, I think gag orders are fucking illegal. This is stupid.
So it may affect the outcome of that appeal, and it may affect the underlying case and the plea agreement. But nonetheless, the right to appeal does not go away because of the waiver. And so I think it's important for that time period to also play itself out to see that it goes the way that I think people intend and expect it to. And so I will be entering an order in the next week or so outlining the process for the review of the sealed records. And counsel will need to maintain a presence in the case in order to review those materials as they are proposed to be unsealed by the court. Because the timeline that I will likely give you will not be, I suspect, extensive as for each group of records. So I might give you 14 days, for example, to provide a response as to a group of,
Yes.
a dozen or a couple dozen records at a time. So just sort of heads up.
Exactly right. What sense does any of this make? It doesn't. It's all it's total crap. Exactly right, Kentucky. Yes. Okay, you so fucking annoyed with the media, then what is this about? %, 100%. Well, why are you even sitting here? I don't understand why did they say he's waived his rights to appeals if he hasn't? He likes the cameras in there. He's full of shit. And our tax dollars. Now, I don't live in Idaho, thank God, but the same shit's going on all over the damn place. Well, I don't. Ashley Banfield had a. Yeah, I've heard enough of his shit. That really pissed me off. Because exactly right. Why didn't he just wait for the sentencing? And I mean, it just needs to go that way. You know what? Sentence him, open everything up. That's just the fucking way it needs to be. Period. He didn't need to go through all this stupid shit. And basically telling us that he's not lifting it. Right? I know. I'm going to be careful about this. I don't know how she feels about it either. I just love, she just really goes on. This is good. Are you still getting storms, Try me? Yeah, I'm going to stop a lot. I'm going to probably put it. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. You guys have really all had some really bad weather. I'm super sorry about that. Right? Yeah. Now it's just socially acceptable to just, yeah, I've never heard Ashley Banfield talk like this ever.
And this is Drop Dead Serious, and holy moly, this is a bonus episode I was not expecting to bring you tonight, but I'm going to muddle through it because the news is just breaking as we speak. The man accused of killing 4 college students in Moscow, Idaho, as you all know, has pleaded guilty. He's confessed to doing it. But Brian Kohberger, even after admitting to one of the most brutal crimes in recent memory, apparently still isn't done fighting. Pour yourself a drink or do your woo-saws or meditate for a hot minute, because I seriously can't believe that I am going to bring you this information right now. But this time, it's not about guilt. It's not about innocence. It's about knowledge. It's about you and me finally hearing the rest of his awful story. It's about the gag order. You probably.
Oh my God, Kentucky woman. Oh my God. Shit. Oh my God. Be so careful. Shit. No, I agree, Top Hats. I totally agree. I 100%.
Probably know that the prosecution is no longer opposing the motion from a whole bunch of media outlets to lift the gag order. But in a new filing, the Latah County prosecutor says that since Kohberger has pleaded guilty, his right to a fair trial is no longer an issue, right?
See, look, how did his hair grow so fucking fast? Look at that. That is crazy. He's like some kind of elongated face person with, I don't know, dolly. Okay, stay safe, please. We'll be praying for you, Kentucky woman. Yeah, that's so scary. My God. Yeah, we're thinking of you for sure and praying for you. See this? Look at his hair. Like a week. For reals? I think that's wild. That's strange as shit.
However, out of respect for victims' family members, prosecutors say that they're not going to make any public statements until after the sentencing is done. That's great. It makes perfect sense. I get it.
Right.
Kohberger's lawyers, though, they don't feel the same way. Kohberger's lawyers just filed a brand new motion today, urging the judge not to lift the non-dissemination order, not to lift the gag order. The gag order that's been in place for 2.5 years, keeping prosecutors, defense lawyers, and the police, and anybody else who's associated with this case from talking to the press. And the reason that they say the gag order needs to stay in place all the way through to sentencing instead of maybe being lifted, tomorrow, because the circus is only getting louder in Brian Kohberger's lawyer's opinion. They say the stakes are still
So
dangerously high. For Brian Kohberger, not for the rest of us, just for him. And what the defense is really pointing to in the motion that they filed today is that there are threats out there to Brian Kohberger, obviously, his family. What? And if you can believe it, court staff. I don't know who the court staff are, and the motion doesn't make it clear. They say court staff. And when I hear court staff, I think maybe Bill Thompson and the prosecutor's team, because people are pissed. Prosecutors offered a deal.
Okay, but how is any of this gonna change anything? How does any of that change any of this? It doesn't. Not in my opinion. It doesn't change any of those things. Right. She just wants to file shit. Try to suck out as much more billable hours as she possibly can out of this. I don't know what the hell. It's so, oh my God.
To this guy, he skated on the death penalty, even though prosecutors had him dead to rights, at least it seemed. So maybe there are threats to Bill Thompson and his office. And that's what Ann Taylor is bringing up in this defense motion.
I know, right?
Maybe there are threats to the judge. How dare you let this happen? Some people are just so irrational. They'll just go after a judge, right?
Exactly.
But here's my question. Does Ann Taylor think that the minute the gag order is lifted and we start hearing the real details, that those real details are so much worse than what we already know, that we're all going to lose our ever-loving minds, and that people are literally going to take to the streets with the pitchforks and the flaming torches? Are the facts in this case, under seal right now, under this gag order, are they so much worse than what we already think that the public is going to explode in a rage? Because that's what this motion seems to point out. Here's what's in the...
Okay, I just gotta say, that smile on her face really, really aggravates me. Wait, where did that go? Shit. All right, I missed it. That smile on Ann Taylor's face makes my stomach sick.
To the media's motion to get rid of the gag order, to vacate it, and to just let the information flow free. Because you know what? quite frankly. The whole reason for it in the beginning was because they were really worried that the whole world was going to find out a whole bunch of information about this case, and that some of those people in the whole world would potentially be jurors,
Right.
and that they'd
Right.
be poisoned by all this information before it could come out in a court of law.
Right.
So, you got to protect the process. You got to make sure the jury pool stays pristine. So, gag order.
Look at her touching him. Oh my God.
So, what would be wrong with lifting the gag order now? Because there's not going to be a jury. Poisoning a jury pool is no longer a concern. Why do we need to wait till sentencing? We know what the sentence is. But his lawyers, Brian Kohberger's lawyers, make the argument that the case is not over. Even though Kohberger has pleaded guilty, they say his constitutional rights still hang in the balance, especially when it comes to sentencing. And sentencing is legally a, quote, critical stage of the process. And that means,
Okay, but listen, the judge has all that information. Okay. So how does that change sentencing? It doesn't. Again, it fucking doesn't. This is what I think. Okay, the defense has tried to do everything they can different and out there. This is about Ann Taylor's resume, is the way I see it. Right, exactly. So what the hell? Hey, Jonathan, good to see you. Oh, God. Right, Jerry. I don't know. Yikes. I don't know. No, you're right. You're right. This has all been about, she wants to, again, they want to talk about media. They want to act like it's so irritating to them. Well, they are sucking up every damn bit of it. This couldn't affect sentencing because the judge already knows this shit. I mean, it's just so stupid. There's no jury to poison, none of it. I mean, come on. It's all bullshit.
that Brian Kohberger still has the right to effective legal counsel. That's important. Effective legal counsel. Those words are important because usually what happens when something goes a way that a defendant doesn't like, they throw a Hail Mary and they say, I want to fight because I had ineffective assistance of counsel. Ineffective assistance of counsel is every defendant's Hail Mary to say, I don't like the way this thing happened and it's my lawyer's fault. So there's Ann Taylor saying Kohberger still has the right to effective legal counsel. And his attorneys say that the media frenzy could interfere with that right. Okay, so I'm trying to work it out. Because at sentencing, that's when Brian Kohberger has agreed to the deal whereby he can never appeal again. He can't raise that whole ineffective assistance of counsel. But before sentencing, I guess he could. I guess he could jack with us, right? I guess Brian Kohberger, if he's scheming and having fun with this whole process, I guess he could jack with us. I guess he could say, hey, ho, wait, before you impose that sentence I agreed to, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to change my mind. And I'm going to file a motion for ineffective assistance of counsel because these ladies over here, they dropped the gag order before sentencing and the media went bananas. And now I don't think I want to go through with the deal that I agreed to because sentencing hasn't happened yet. I think I can see the point. I think I can see the point of Brian Kohberger's lawyers. They're smart and they are good at their job. Ann Taylor is one of the best. Those attorneys appointed this ongoing release of high-profile media projects, like, the Peacock docuseries. It's called The Idaho.
That's what, right. That's what I'm saying. Is that actually a thing? I mean, how does that, I don't even understand how that works. Wow.
Student murders. Then there was the big series that was just released on July 11th, Amazon. That one was called One Night in Idaho. Dateline episode. In May, tons of leaked information. Court ordered records hold and an active investigation into who the leakers were, who leaked all the confidential information that was supposed to be protected by the gag order. Kohberger's lawyers say that lifting this gag order now, just days before sentencing, would only pour gasoline on the fire. And the fire, they argue, is already blazing. They say that there have been threats against Brian Kohberger, that there have been threats against Kohberger's family. Come on, people. It's not their fault. Don't threaten his family. Apparently, court staff have been targets of something. But the threats apparently are escalating against court staff. Let me read directly from the defense motion.
And how do we even know if that's true? Right. I mean, who's... This is all bullshit. It sounds to me like the threats are coming from the defense. If he can withdraw that plea, are you kidding? I feel like it's all calculated.
Where the argument is being made that lifting the gag order is somehow dangerous to Brian Kohberger's safety. Quote, the amount of publicity coming before sentencing, even with the revised order in place, is massive. Further release would only serve to gin up the anger and violent rhetoric already at a fever pitch. Again, this court is well aware of the threats posed not only to Mr. Kohberger, but to his family and to court staff, end quote. Holy shit. Internet, back off. Leave the court staff alone. They're doing their jobs. Leave the Kohberger family alone. I look at them as victims too. Brian Kohberger should be the sole direction of all ire. The guy that admitted to it, the monster who did these horrible things, just him, not his lawyer, not the court, not the staff, not the judge, and certainly not his parents or his sisters. Kohberger's lawyers also said that court resources are already stretched thin, that security was already maxed out when the court met on July 2nd. And with sentencing expected to take 2 full days, they say public safety could take a major hit if the order is lifted now, to which I respond, Ann Taylor and team, I love you to pieces. My God, you're good at your jobs. You've done everything that any defendant could ever want. You have done the greatest job of a defense attorney.
No, I completely agree, Top Hat. Me too. Me too. And it's so true. It is so true. But listen, you know what? This is the thing. We're going to blame everybody else for all kinds of shit. Who knows if any of this is even happening? Who knows? Maybe people are doing that. People are fucking crazy. People do whatever they do. But guess what? All of this happened because that fucking psycho brutally killed these kids. So fuck right off. don't even give a shit who's threatening him. I'm looking for jailhouse justice with his ass. God.
Really have. You really committed to the Constitution of the United States. You gave him such amazing defense, right? You just did everything. You looked under every rock and you went through every crevice to save a man's life because that was your job. However, I don't know what the fuck you're saying. With danger, Brian Kohberger, and court resources stretched thin.
Yep.
What exactly was the plan during trial, right? Because every single day of a 4-month trial, there was going to be explosive testimony and evidence made public.
Right.
What was the plan for his security then? How is it any different than right fucking now? I don't get that at all. Screw Brian Kohberger's safety. The issue is not his safety with a dissemination order, being lifted. This part just doesn't make any sense. You are going to have a 4-month trial. That's going to be way more dangerous than lifting a non-dissemination order now for a couple of days before sentencing. Safety? How could it be any different than at trial? Okay, maybe I'm missing something. And Ann Taylor, please call me if I'm missing something. And here's where the defense motion today also gets interesting. Kohberger's lawyers accuse the prosecution of trying to look like the grown-ups in the room, claiming that the state now withdraws its request to keep the gag order in place,
Yes.
quote, out of respect for the victims and the judicial process. Kohberger's lawyers are calling BS on that. They point out that when the prosecution states that it promises not to speak to the press, that's vague. Vague, they say. Vague at best. Does that include attorneys?
Well, and I think it's very obvious listening to that book that, as if we already kind of knew that about Steve, but it's very clear in the book too how they feel about Steve. Yeah. Hey, I don't give a fuck. Because some of the parents have made a choice to not speak out. That's their right. It is absolutely his right to say and do whatever the hell he wants to after what happened to his daughter. He can feel any fucking way he wants to. But yeah, I think you're right about that.
Support staff? All 150 law enforcement officers involved in the case? Kohberger's attorneys say that if you were in the courtroom on July 2nd, you would know that an entire row of courtroom gallery was filled with law enforcement. And Kohberger's team is asking the obvious question. If the order is lifted, what's stopping any of them from giving interviews the minute they leave the courtroom? To which I say, right, yeah, exactly.
So what?
It's a public process. They're public officers. This is a public
100%.
proceeding.
Mhm.
We're the public and we've been left out of it. The filing wraps with this. Kohberger's asking for the judge to keep the order in place until after the sentencing. His attorneys argue that it is reasonable, it's narrowly tailored, and it doesn't actually prevent the media from covering the case. It just stops the parties from fueling the chaos. Bullshit. Yeah, the media has been prevented from covering the case because we don't even know who the witnesses are half the time. We don't even know what the investigators found in that house. We don't even know half the stuff that led to Brian Kohberger, right? Or what they had on him, or why they saw it necessary to sign a deal with him instead of going through with a death penalty case. Why? What was it that changed your mind, right? Prosecutors, what the hell was it that made you cut a deal? Because for the rest of us, with the limited information we have, it looked like dead to rights. I mean, it looked like you had him slam dunk. What was it? I guess that's under the gag order. His lawyers say that keeping the gag order in place is the only way to protect the integrity of the process and the safety of everyone involved. Maybe you're partly right, Ann Taylor. Maybe you're right. Maybe Maybe there is a possibility that before sentencing, Brian Kohberger could throw a fucking wrench into all of this and say, ineffective assistance of counsel before I give up my right to appeal forever and ever. Before you lay that sentence on me, I got one more knife that I want to stick into the process and fuck with everybody. Maybe you're right. And so maybe keeping the gag order in place until sentencing will protect us all from him being able to do that. But the rest of it, the security of Brian Kohberger, fuck him. I honestly do not care about the security of Brian Kohberger. I really don't. And I probably speak for a lot of people when I say I hope he gets shanked in prison so he knows what it feels like, what he did to those 4 kids.
Yep.
So is the judge
100%.
going to lift the gag order? We should know very soon. The sentencing is set for July 23rd. Courtroom's already bracing for an onslaught of media, victim impact statements, and possibly, new details that we've never heard before. The moment the gag order lifts, whenever it is, tomorrow, sentencing, the floodgates will open. And if you're wondering what might spill out, we're going to be right here to break it all down and to go back to the beginning to see if it squares with what we thought we knew then. I'm Ashley Banfield. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so appreciative. Sorry when I release the F-bombs, but I get really pissed. I'm really invested in this. I care about those families. I care about those people whose lives have just been turned upside down, that will never be the same anymore. I care about those friends. I care about those surviving roommates who the internet decided to shred. They deserve the best. They deserve all care and concern. They don't deserve to hear that Brian Kohberger's safety is paramount. It's not. It isn't. He's a ruthless, vile monster. He's a horrifying killer who skated from having 5 to 7 marksmen aim their rifles at his heart and take aim and fire. He skated from that.
Yep.
So whatever he gets in prison from now on, that's the system. That's the way it is. And the rest of us, we don't owe him a dime. But maybe Ann Taylor's right. Maybe her sick, twisted, motherfucking client does have something else up his sleeve. Ineffective assistance of counsel before the gavel comes down. So maybe she's right.
I agree 100%. Yep. You're right. I agree with that 100%. I don't know what kind of shit they're up to. And this is before we found out that he's really not going to lift it. I mean, the way he has laid that out, he's really not lifting it. And he absolutely just why are they bothering to say he can't appeal whenever he just said he can appeal? What the fuck? What does any of that shit mean? It all means nothing. It doesn't mean a damn thing. I'm interested to hear what Steve thinks about this. And again, I would dare you to hold me. I mean, if you work for the court, obviously you probably have to. Otherwise, I'll say whatever the hell I want to. Gag orders are bullshit. It was. Yep. 100%. So irritating. That's why I'm I don't know who the hell thinks that the gag order was lifted. That's sure as shit not what I got out of it. And I do think that he actually likes all this. And then, did you see this? Let me see real quick. Oh, wait, I think I did. Hold on. Did you miss top hats? City of Moscow to establish website for homicide investigation documents. Did you see this? Due to the significant public and media interest in the Kohberger investigation, the City of Moscow will be making some of the investigation reports that have not been sealed by the court available to the public and media at no cost to enhance access to public information and reduce the burden on the city's limited staff. Oh, let me find my place. The city is legally, when the city is legally able to release these records until sentencing is completed, all investigate, okay, I'm not saying that right. Investigatory records for this case remain protected from release pursuant to whatever. Well, it looks, let me see. I shared this on X. Yeah, now it's just saying everything else that, but it does mean that people won't have to pay for, have to file for a Freedom of Information Act. Yeah. I shared the post that I got this from on there. I mean, that's a good thing, I guess, but what is going to be there? I don't know. Let me see. So that, I think that's good, I guess. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I was looking up, trying to see what all was new on this. And everybody's just saying, that the gag order was lifted. And I'm like, it's not the way I see it. And yes, I think that I would agree with absolutely everything that Ashley Banfeld said in that. And who doesn't hope he gets shamed? Of course we do. And the thing is, he has admitted to doing this at this point. I mean, is it really a thing that he can take that back? I don't know if I even get that. I don't know if I get it. I guess I don't understand that. And so to me, you might remember that I told you guys, I thought that when they when he did his plea hearing, I thought that it was all done right then and there. Why wasn't it? Why was there is there even a separate sentencing? Why didn't all that happen at one time? That doesn't even make sense to me. Not, a lot of this shit is not making sense to me. But I guess it doesn't have to make sense to me. Right. You know, they all are different. They are, and we know that. And that's fine, but now learning that he can, prior to sentencing, withdraw that's what I can't get my head around. It's very, very frustrating to me. I'm sorry, but right, exactly. So what was all that? Just pure horseshit. That's it. That's all that was. If it doesn't mean anything, then why the fuck are you doing it? Have you guys all seen that Papa Rogers picture? That is so weird. Yeah, that's exactly right, Todd. That's what I think. That's all it can be. So wild. I was just gonna say the way he looked at that plea hearing, whatever the fuck that was, I guess it's nothing. He looked so much like that Papa Rogers picture. Oh my god, it's so freaking creepy. Yeah, that's what you said. I forgot about that. Yep. You guys, look at how crazy this is. Wow. That totally was him, huh? I mean, it just was. So weird. God, that's so creepy. He is a scary dude, man. Right. No. Oh my God. Right. You know, but I vaguely remember that. I mean, I totally do remember that happening, but I never looked at this stuff. I don't know if you looked on this page, but I never did. So weird. He is a sick fuck, man. Let's see. So, okay, so that's it. So my opinion, gag order was not. Okay, right, right. That's okay. Right, that's the same as me. And I never really took a whole lot of stock in it. But I mean, I feel like I can just say it 100% was him. So weird. Can you imagine? Oh my God, people talking to him. Huh. So creepy. He was so comfortable with himself, right? To put that picture. God, that's weird. But so again, that's my take that the gag order was not lifted, in my opinion, for whatever that's worth. That would, I am interested in that website to see what happens with that. And it should be that way actually all the time. We shouldn't even have to be asking these people for this shit all the time. I don't think. It's public knowledge. We're allowed a seat in every single courtroom. We're just allowed. So that is my take on the whole gag order horseshit. I don't think I thought there was something else I was going to show you guys, but I can't. Right. Well, that's just it. That's kind of what I was thinking too, Top Hats, because they already have something like that. Will that stop? I don't know. Has it stopped already? It's still happening, right? I don't know. But I do think The ones, yeah, because they weren't there yesterday. You said the ones they filed yesterday weren't there, but they were there today. That's okay. I love what she said about the firing squad. I can't wait for that to happen to Mantits, but I don't actually think it will happen. That's the whole thing. That's my only issue with the death penalty. It never happens. Right, right. Well, we'll stay on this and see what we can do. Does she right now? I figured she would. I bet he's on fire. Oh, okay. I don't see it on News Nation right now, but everything I see is 2 days ago. Or 2 weeks ago. Shit. Sorry. I know. I agree, Top Hat. I agree. Like I said, to act like you, however he feels, he is 100% allowed to feel that way. Oh, yes, it is new. But I hope she doesn't strike me, but that's okay if she does. Hey, by the way, tell Wendy we miss her. I was thinking about her the other day. Oh, hold on, let me see. I also wanted to recommend to you guys What happened? Oh, it didn't come up at first. Lauren Matthias did a interview on Mormon stories. Mormon stories. I think that's the name of it. It was really good. The first night I listened to it, it was 3.5 hours, and then the second one was 2.5. It's long, but it's really good. I just want to recommend that. Okay, let's see.
This is Drop Dead Serious. You've probably heard, if you follow the Idaho quadruple murder case, that the judge in the case made a big decision this morning, and that is to lift the gag order. Hallelujah. 2.5 years we've been under that suffocating order, right? Which has kept not only you, the public, and the media, who is the conduit to you, but also the families of the victims from ever really knowing what happened to their loved ones, what happened to their kids, their sister, their brother. I mean, they have been in excruciating pain trying to find out answers about this horrendous case because it is just so confounding. Who does what Brian Kohberger did? Who does this and why? They are still mystified, and here's what the judge's order really means. It means that people associated with the case are no longer prevented from speaking about it. Doesn't mean they're gonna. I've made many, many phone calls today. My team has called the coroner, we called the police, we called associates who've been involved in the investigation, and we're being denied all sorts of interviews. It may be because they hate us, I get it, but it also may be because they don't want to speak until the sentencing is over next week. Even though the judge told them today they can. What hasn't happened, that is really the crux of this non-dissemination order, is the roughly 250 motions that have been filed in this Idaho courtroom under seal remain under seal for now.
See, I feel like they're going to, I feel like it's going to stay that way. You almost never see her. Oh. She's taking care of your mom and stuff. She's a sweetheart. Well, we love her and we miss her. I bet you do too.
Every single one of them effectively needs to be treated separately. Some of them need to be unsealed only through a Freedom of Information Act and then a court action. They have to be redacted because, let's be frank, you and I do not have the right to everything, okay? There is dignity in death, even though there's basically none. We do need to offer dignity to the victims of this horrendous crime. Kaylee and Maddie and Xana and Ethan deserve that, as do their families. It was awful what happened to them. And you and I don't have the right to see it all. We don't have the right to see the pictures. We don't have the right to be privy to everything. But the families have the right to know a hell of a lot more than they know now. And I think we all have the right to know a hell of a lot more than we know now because these prosecutors offered Brian Kohberger a deal. They took death penalty off the table. They took a trial.
Right. And, think about what she was saying earlier. If there was a trial, all of it would come out. What was going to happen then?
A public process off the table. Why? What was the reason? What did you not have on this guy to have him dead to rights in a trial? What did you not have? What was the reason you decided to circumvent the public process and just go directly to a quiet deal that would send him away forever with no opportunity for parole or appeal? These are the reasons that the public information is important, not that we deserve to have everything. So when it comes to each one of these motions, they have to be treated separately. They have to be redacted. I'm sure many of them will have to have protections in place for the dignity of those who are so deeply affected by this, as long as the public process is still effectively protected so that we know we haven't done hooded justice like they do in other countries around the world. All of that said, it just is confounding to me that these family members haven't been given the white glove treatment, because they have not, according to Steve Gonsalves, who I just had a lengthy conversation with about this. I wish it were lengthier, but he is in a very busy process right now of trying to travel and to get on the road. But he was kind enough to give me as much time as he could before his family literally said, "Dad, we got to go." And I asked him a whole bunch of questions about, how did you feel about today? The gag order's lifted, but not really. I mean, it's still going to take some time, maybe months, to unseal 250 plus motions, even if they're not completely unsealed. Did the prosecution, did the government, did the judge, did anybody help you through this before we knew all of this stuff? What's your reaction to what happened in court today? And how much have you known, if anything, that we haven't known? I mean, I felt like they deserved to know more than we knew. And I'm still completely astounded by how Steve and his family have been treated. I don't know about the other families. If they've been treated differently, I don't know. But
And that's just the thing. You know, I get the impression in the book so far that, you know, the families have not, well, not just the impression, it actually says the families have not all agreed on everything. And that's okay. They don't have to agree. They're all allowed to feel any way they want to, and to say and do whatever they want to. I mean, as long as it's legal, obviously. But because the Gonsalves family has spoke out, I feel like they have had a lot of backlash due to that. And that's, you know, just because some families choose not to, that's their right. But, you know, that happens to my child, just fucking stop me. I'm going to say and do whatever the hell I want. No way you're going to tell me to shut up. You're not going to tell me shit. Right. They didn't. Exactly right. That's his. My God. I mean, there's no way that anybody can take away the pain, the horror, all of this. I mean, he can, whatever he feels, he's 100% allowed to feel. Yeah, it really blows my mind. I don't know if you picked up on that in the book, but I mean, there is a lot of that to me. And without saying who they're talking about, you can tell. I know who they're talking about. Right. Exactly right. And honestly, the way the parents all found out was not great, in my opinion. They didn't do a good job with that. That's just me.
I had this conversation with Steve Gonsalves, and I wanted to share everything about it with you now. Steve, what was your reaction to the decision today that the gag order will be lifted, but the motions won't be unsealed? Not yet, anyway.
You know, we requested for basically Kaylee, what happened to Kaylee. So I know her sisters want to do a victim statement and address the exacts, some of the things that happened to her. And they basically wouldn't share any information with.
Oh my God. Okay. Think about that, you guys. Listen what he just said. And that's something I had not thought about. Wow. For their victim impact statement. Seriously, think about this. Oh my God. This is the only time you get to say to that son of a bitch, you get to speak your mind to him. He said that his daughters wanted they had asked for some information. Here, let me back it up. Listen to this. I really had not thought about this.
I know our sisters want to do a victim statement and address the. We requested for basically Kaylee, what happened to Kaylee. So I know our sisters want to do a victim statement and address the exacts, some of the things that happened to her. And they basically wouldn't share any information with us on, what happened to her. So I'm pretty used to how ridiculous, not just a gag order, but sealing something that has nothing to do with the victim's rights. It's all about, hate to say it, but it is a lot to do with the media and people being put on cameras and not knowing what to say, or things coming out that they didn't mean to say, or just didn't have a good explanation of what was going on. So they wrap this seal thing around trying to pretend like they're, trying to protect people and doing all that, but they gave out people's initials at the very beginning. So it's just a dog and pony show that we're supposed to pretend like, like there's top secret information inside these docs. It's pretty gross, and we're fed up with it, and we're glad that it's over. And we just, you only got one time to be able to be a victim's advocate and say what you need to say and do it.
Right. See, that's just it. That's your one and only time for that man to have to listen to you. Wow. And everybody has to worry about Kohberger and his family and shit. How fucked up.
Address the courtroom and everyone in Idaho, and they're not gonna let us know exactly what happened. So it's just terrible. You're gonna go in there, we're gonna make statements, and we're like, we don't want to say anything inaccurate. We want to make sure everything we say is exactly truthful. And it's one of those times where they could bend the rules, but they don't.
I seem to recall there was some discussion that the judge was going to meet with families and tell you privately things that were going to be released in the gag order. Is that still a possibility, or is there no discussion of that?
There's no discussion of that. We just, Shannon just sent him an email and just said, are you really going to make my clients go through 3 different agencies to get this information that they want to see? Like, go through Freedom of Information Acts for the state of Idaho, for the county of Latah. And then, there's federal ones as well. There's even other states. So it's like they could make it happen, but clearly the willpower isn't there. I don't think they really want anyone talking to the media and questioning. Remember, these people said that it was a crime of passion, it was targeted, and it was an isolated event. All this language, and then they even said, you're gonna have to trust us. You're just gonna have to wait and trust us. And now we've waited, and it's like, no. Well, there was no connection whatsoever that we could establish. So how do you get isolated? How do you get targeted? So I think it's more about covering up some of the mistakes that they made. They don't want to talk about destroying the crime scene and how questionable that was. So they just.
I think he's right. That's what they don't want to do. They don't want to talk about how they fucked it up. Because in my opinion, the most important thing in their minds from the very beginning was to protect the university at all costs. And they immediately came out saying that, the public at large is not in any danger and stuff. Remember all that shit? They didn't fucking know. Yep. I think so. Because, I was impressed whenever we had no idea that they had him in their sights, and they were all over that. But let's be honest, it wasn't local that was all over, that did all that. And they cared more about the reputation of that university than anything. I mean, like we talked about tracksuit guy. Why was he at every press conference? He was the fucking main guy. What the hell? See all that bullshit that happened. Right, right, Jerry, exactly right. And you know, the thing is, the way they informed the families was they did not handle that right at all. Not at all. Every single person in the family was hearing stuff like, hey, do you know what's going on? There's something happening over here, blah, blah. Okay, and maybe you can understand some of that. But this is like Maddie's mom just started driving there before. And when she asked, they're like, oh, yeah, your daughter's dead. What? They fucked that shit up bad. Your B key? I don't know it. That was so fucked up. No. I think so, Top Out. That's what I think. And yeah, they want to write their victim impact statement. Come on. This is, oh my God. Oh, okay. I'm like, what is a B key?
Say, well, we're gagged. And now that the gag's over, you guys aren't going to know exactly what we were talking about during the last 2.5 years.
I can't imagine the frustration that you and Christy and the kids and everybody else who's been directly affected as victims of Brian Kohberger's hideous, horrific actions. I can't imagine what it's like. I do know that the prosecutor sent you an email leading up to the decision to offer this plea deal. Now that the gag order is lifted, are you able to share what was in that email?
Yeah, we kept it. But yeah, we could forward it to you guys, and then you guys could share it to your audience. It is what it is, man. You got to put yourself in the position of a parent, read that email, and wonder if that's what you thought was going to happen. And that kind of language doesn't really sound like it's a negotiation. It basically just tells us that it's over, it's done with, and just get on board. Get on board.
No solicitation for your thoughts, your opinions, to weigh in on the possibility of a plea agreement being offered?
No, it was just basically paperwork. We were asked if we had ever been offered a plea deal or gave one. We said no. He was like, Judge Hippler said, well, you probably should at least, look into that. And what's that look like for you guys? And we said, we're not in it. We're in it for the death penalty. The choice is he could be fired at, or he could take a shot. Those are the two options that we would agree to. And then we did, we would have, if it would have got to negotiations, we would have negotiated a lot better than Thompson. Thompson negotiated like a 5-year-old kid. He didn't force him to say that he did it solo by himself. Didn't force him to prove that he was wearing the suit or show us where the sheath, the knife is to the sheath. There's a right way to do things, and then there's just, I want it over with because I want my summer back and I want to go retire. So that's what we got. We got a pitiful effort from an old man who's retiring, and
Seriously? Wow. Wow. This is really gross.
Doesn't believe in the death penalty, and really had no right to even be in that room. And it's a shame that we didn't have any other choices that we could have, we could have pushed for. We tried. I mean, I tried to even hire a prosecutor. I would have paid to have my daughter in a separate case with her own prosecutor that we paid for, and not even made Idaho pay one penny. And it would have turned out differently.
Which leads me to another question.
So
There are still civil avenues open to you, a wrongful death suit against Brian Kohberger. Do you and your attorney, Shannon Gray, plan to mount any kind of action after this, or are you done?
I think a lot of their strategy for this sealing and gagging was because they were afraid of the civil action.
yeah, because he always does a plea. No, you're right, Top Hats. You're right. And it's bullshit. And if the only thing he can do is get on and speak his mind, then he needs to do that. And besides that, he can do that anyway. He has every fucking right to say whatever the hell he wants to. But, oh my God. I don't blame him one bit. I would be causing a way bigger stir. %, Jerry. Yes, she did. Like Top Hat said earlier. Yep, she saved his life, didn't she? Yep, she won. And that's what all this shit is about. Majority of this has been about her resume and trying to cover up the fucking bullshit that went on. Have you listened to that book? Have you listened to any of that book? I'm telling you, they can pat themselves on the back all fucking day long because they caught him, but they didn't do that, and they did not handle this right at all. They did not handle this right. Not in my opinion. They never have. Exactly right. Exactly right, Top Hat. Exactly right. And that bullshit today. Wow. Oh my God.
But those are mostly have to be brought up within 2 years. And it's hard to bring something up that you're not been able to even look at. Like, we don't even know who made the decision and what was all done. So I think this was a strategy for them to cover up their tails and the university's ass. And
there you go.
There's 2 huge universities there. One, they literally sent the students back, saying it was an isolated, targeted event, and literally the murderer was hired by one of the universities and was literally in a position of power, who had already harassed girls, and they hadn't even taken those investigations seriously. So yeah, there was a lot. People need to look back when he was fired. He was fired on the 19th. That's the exact same day that the police said that the FBI told them that Brian was a suspect. It's kind of more than suspicious that WSU fired him that exact same day while he was out on the back in Pennsylvania. They fired him. So obviously they heard about what was going on, and it was cover their tails. And that's why we have all this sealed stuff, and we're still fighting for the information to come out when it's just 4 kids that got killed in their bed.
Okay, Legs. Be careful though. Don't be out in that heat. Be careful. Think about that. For reals. And good night. It was good to see you. I love you. My voice. Be careful.
There's no top secret information here. There's no national security. It's literally people thinking that they don't work for us anymore, guys. They think that we are lucky to be in that courtroom, and they're like a form of royal bloodlines, and they sit there in that courtroom and they tell us how it goes, and how dare us question them, and how dare us know what's going on, and question what they're doing. And I appreciate the media because it's one thing an angry dad saying that. It's a different thing for ex-prosecutors to get on your guys' station and say, this is questionable. Why'd they tear the house down? There's literally the 1112 video is referencing sounds in that house. So, it could easily be that a jury wanted to reproduce what those sounds would have sounded like on that camera. And they couldn't do that once the house was torn down.
Was there any contact made or any overture at all from prosecutor's office, the victim's rights advocate that's supposed to be associated with you, about the process going forward now in order to find out more information? Have they at least guided you? Will you have a better shot at getting information than someone like me?
No, they don't like us. They don't like the fact that we question their authority. They don't like the fact that we talk to you guys right now. So I don't think they'll help us at all. They'll try to make it as most difficult as possible because we bring a huge spotlight. If we're gonna read it, we're gonna explain it to people how we understand it, and I don't think they want that attention. And that's probably why most of them have already retired. So I don't think we're gonna get any help. We don't have a victim's advocate. She's bound by the rules of that court. So if the judge tells her to shut her mouth and don't talk about it, there's an open investigation of the leak, and she's a part of that team. She can't talk to us. We brought up the leak in court January 13th. Gray accused that office of leaking the information, and ever since then, we've been able to prove that we knew about the sheath and the DNA, CODIS hit, all that stuff before. You think if there's an investigation, why hasn't anyone ever called us and asked us where we heard it? So there's no investigation going on. They're lying to Hitler if they're telling him there's an investigation. There's no investigation going on, because the first person who told you that there was leaks and proved to you by telling you what they've heard, that eventually becomes part of your case. The sheep, we knew about the sheep before it was. We knew about the white car before they released it. They never came and asked us who told us that information. They didn't even try. So
who was it?
Oh, I would never. I'm not going to give that information out. I really respect the people that actually reached out and tried to help us. They're awesome mothers and fathers, and they cared about their community, and they wanted to make sure that this was done the right way. And we did know some stuff, but I respect all those people, and I would never give out their information. They're all safe. Every person ever.
It makes perfect sense. You got a loyalty to those who loved you and cared for you throughout this horrible process. In the interim, I kept thinking along the way there would be things that that we don't know, and that you were sworn to secrecy because of the gag order or any other reasons. Is there information you know now that I haven't known and the rest of us haven't known up until today?
Most of the information we found out were just people calling up. Had other officers call us up and just say, I don't know what just happened in the court today, but I don't support it. People so angry at what was happening in that courtroom that they would literally pick up their phone and call us and say, this is what's on Brian's phone. This is what he was searching. This individual was sexually motivated. I don't care what Thompson said. They've got a plan for him. They've got a job role for that man. And it's not every day that you get somebody who wants to be a police officer, is dying to be a police officer, is literally talking to them every single day about how he was going to be a police officer. It's not every day you get a master's degree in criminology that is going to go into prison, and they're going to leverage that. That's what they're interested in. They're not interested in him being locked up in 23 hours of, solitaire where he's not going to be able to have any influence. They want him to go in there and actually have influence and work with them.
And be a resource for fighting in the future.
Yeah. His fantasy was to be an officer, or the earliest one was like a Green Beret or something like that.
Well, the reason I like that he will be in general population, I don't want him to be locked up 23 hours a day, because I want someone to be able to shank him. I don't want him to be protected.
And a ranger. So this guy's had like these grandeur visions of himself since he was just a little kid. And I think one of the first things he told the officers when they arrested him in Pennsylvania was like, let's get a cup of coffee. I'm working on my criminology PhD, and I'd like to interview you. It's like, this guy wants to be a cop or wants to be somebody of importance. He always has been. And that was part of the reason why we were trying to get them to
I agree, Top Hat.
take that into account and not plead with him. Don't give him the position of power. Basically dictate the terms to him and say we're not going to accept this unless you prove who you are.
Still fascinated by the comment he made upon arrest. Have you arrested anyone else? Thinking, is he throwing a red herring in? Is he really curious about other possible suspects? But I'm very curious about what you just mentioned, that coming out of hearings, there would be people who would call you and say, I don't like what's happening in that courtroom. I know what's on his phone. I know. What did you learn from those phone calls without divulging who it was who called?
He just weird porn fetishes, but two of the fetishes were in that room. Drunk, passed out girls and gagging girls. And those are two things that were part of that crime scene. For Thompson to say that there was no sexual assault, of course there wasn't. He didn't have enough time. Somebody came up there. But why are you defending somebody who just killed 4 people? Why are you not even making him stand in the courtroom and admit that he killed 4 people? I mean, it's upside down world sometimes when you go in those court systems and they're literally, oh, you've been so respectful. You can sit down.
Yeah,
when
I
you
agree.
plead guilty, with a yes and no answer. So we're just glad to be done with it. We're glad to move on.
When you said drunk, passed out girls, gagging girls, was there something that happened at the crime scene involving gagging that you heard?
Yeah. That's what we've heard. That's why we want to get all these facts straight. So we don't want to have a statement that isn't accurate. But when you have a prosecution that just is okay with covering everything up and not telling you what's going on, it's hard to be accurate. And they've criticized us for not being accurate on certain things. And it's because we're not getting the facts. Parents shouldn't have to beg.
No, they should not have to beg for this information. Absolutely, 100% not. Oh my God. Can you even imagine? I mean, I cannot imagine being him in any circumstance whatsoever. And this is a thing that is so frustrating with these people. You can't treat them good enough for what has happened to them. But to fuck around and I'm telling you, I can tell just by the book and stuff, I can tell. They have not liked them. And I get a feeling that a lot of the other parents don't care for it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. My heart breaks for them too. I mean, how on earth can you feel anything but heartbreak? And there has been definite contempt for them. That's been very clear. And again, they just wanted to protect the university at any cost. Tearing the house down, that was so fucked up. Like, I really still can't even believe they did that. Exactly right. Exactly right. that's what I'm saying. If the other families are, I don't put down any of them. However, you can get past this, that's what you need to do. Because how do you get past this? How does it ever not in your head what happened to your child? It's so horrible. I can never get that blood dripping down the foundation. I mean, I'll never get past that. Yep. Exactly. It's never going to be okay. It's not. It's never going to be okay. But it's been, we could all feel the contempt towards this family, and it is so fucked up. And honestly, you know, the FBI is who did this. They didn't. They cared about that university, hands down. That's all they cared about. That was obvious from the very beginning. Oh my God, this makes my heart break. You know, it's like they just keep doing it to him over and over. Hello, Morgan. Yeah, 100% they should. How do they justify not? And like he just said, they've criticized him for saying the wrong things. Well, what the hell do you expect from them? Oh my God. It makes me so angry. I cannot imagine being a parent to this. I cannot imagine. And you know, what he never came out and said, fuck your university. Fuck your university. All your bullshit. I think he's handled himself very well. Yes. Yes. Right. And I understand it. This is a thing, Top Hats. I understand it to a degree, just like what I said to you about, like, you know, at Big Bear. Like, you know, there certain areas, they survive, they thrive on certain industries. I get it. But when this horrible thing happens to these kids like this, and I can never, ever get it out of my head, how many of us as parents, you get that text, I'm home safe, and you feel good, right? They did everything they should do right. They had a sober driver. They did. It's just horrible. I think he's done. I mean, because I don't know how you live with it. I don't know how you deal with it. God is the only one that can get you through. But to have them coming at them and be so blatantly hostile towards them, you know, wow. I know they were home in bed, safe. Oh God, it kills me. It kills me. Exactly, more. That's exactly right. I don't know how they do it. And tearing down the house and all this shit they did. All of the shit they did. You know, I get it. You know, the people at the university, they have a job to do. I understand that's, you know, there's a PR situation here. But guess what? My child was just brutally attacked in her own home. I don't give a fuck about your university. Screw every one of your asses. And then people have given this guy, he gets all these rights. Fuck him. I know, I felt sick to my stomach when they tore that house. I thought, what the hell? But you know, it went right along with everything that they had done from the beginning. When they came out and told everybody, what they sent out an alert that there was vandalism or something, and then they came out and told people that, you know, isolated situation, all this stuff. They didn't know. They were doing that shit before they ever told the parents. They fucked it up. They fucked it up. I'm surprised he hasn't gone off on their asses. That's my kid. I'm going to lose my fucking shit. Oh.
Egg to know what happened to their kid the last 24 hours of their life. We figured out everything that we could. You know, we got the grub truck video before they did. We got the white car. We got the 112 surveillance even before they got it. We were the ones that tell them to go to these cameras and pull them off. I'm sure they already were going to do that anyway.
Right.
But we got it before they did. So
no, I think that's what he was planning to do. He was trying to be a serial killer, I think. I don't know what the fuck he was. The Jane, 100% it was. Yes, it was. Where the hell did they come from saying that? It was about the university from the second it happened. That's why Tracksuit was up there every damn day. Right? Hell, absolutely not. Yep. Well, I will tell you, so Morgan, just to let you know, I don't know if you watched One Night in, or what's it called? One Night in Idaho from Amazon Prime. I did play those. Okay, I was going to say, I have that on my Rumble channel. And right now we are listening to the James Patterson book on my Rumble channel, because I can't play that stuff over here. But it seems like it was Maddie. It's all kind of coming, because that one, the one on Amazon Prime, that was stuff we never heard from. Hunter and Emily, all these people, we'd never heard from these people before, or I hadn't. And a lot of stuff's coming out in the book too. But it does appear that it actually was Maddie. From what we're getting out of the book and stuff, they've never, they don't say. Right. I don't know if I don't think I do believe that. Right. And I understand that. And, you know, in a lot of situations that go on, Top Hats, I understand that that's what they have to do. But when these kids were killed like that, how is that the first thing? How is money right now? Just shut up. Especially when you're telling kids they're not in danger. Yes, they are. That fucking creep was still running around there. Yeah, I thought it was really good too. I was very pleased with it. And that sounds so horrible. I hate myself because I keep saying, you know, that was really good. And it's like, no, it's really horrible, right? It's not a good thing. But it was done well. Yep. Right, Tough? Oh. Right. It is done respectful. But it does kind of seem, that it was Maddie. And again, so who's giving out all these other people information? And they seem to be more concerned about who's giving out information than they are about this sick, twisted fuck that did this shit. Yeah, it talks a lot about that in the, God, a lot of this shit is running, that show and the book is kind of running together with me because it's a lot of new information. But yeah, she had her boots and an M up in the window. And the neighbors said they could see her getting ready, like putting on her makeup and stuff in the window. And like Top Hat said, like, can you imagine, like, this whole time you don't know somebody's watching you? So freaking creepy. God. Yep. And yes, there was still a danger to the public. Of course there was. I can't believe they said that shit. Oh, they infuriate me. Right? Yeah, this latest stuff has been so wild to me. Just a huge overload of information. I just feel so sorry for these parents. And how they could be hostile towards them is just fucking beyond me. It makes me so mad.
They were just concerned that, you know, they weren't in control and we knew too much stuff. And
Did someone with the investigation describe that Kaylee or Maddie was gagged during this horrible crime?
I was told that by
Right.
somebody in I can give that out. That was Babbitt. That was Babbitt who gave that information.
What did she say?
There was some damage to her. There was some
Yes.
damage around her mouth, right here. Like somebody had like pressed in and like tried to keep her quiet. You know, she'd been hit multiple times in her head, and her skull was damaged.
We gotta go.
So, all right, they're telling me I gotta go. So we gotta fly. We gotta fly out of here.
Understandable. And just for our viewers, Kathy Babbitt is the coroner, so she has spoken with you about these details. Steve, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. I say it every time, and I mean it every time. I wish you and Christy and the kids peace, and I'm very appreciative that you took this time to speak with us. So obviously, I had a lot of questions I still wanted to ask Steve, but he had to cut the interview short. Kathy Mabbitt, I think I said her name differently in the interview. Kathy Mabbitt was the coroner who I actually spoke with exclusively 2.5 years ago, and she revealed details on my Banfield show on News Nation that she hadn't revealed anywhere else.
Yeah, and it came out in that book that they were not happy about her doing that. Right. Yes, Top Hat's right. Who knows what he's done? He is a weirdo. He is so creepy. He's so... Look, if you just look at him, he looks like he doesn't even sleep. And he probably didn't. Cruising over there to that house, doing weird shit, online, you know, talking, I don't know. Like, oh my God, he's so freaking creepy. And the thing is, what really stopped him was, I believe firmly, because why would his dad fly there to drive back home with him just for Thanksgiving? That didn't make any sense at all. It never has. His dad flew there and was there less than 2 hours before they hit the road. That's so freaking weird across the entire fucking country. Why wouldn't they just fly him home for Thanksgiving? So that is what stopped him. It's his dad. I feel sure his dad, I bet that family knew full well it was him and said, go get his fucking psycho ass. And then how was he even at his own house? Going through trash with gloves on, taking trash to the neighbor. How does your family not say, what the fuck are you doing? That's weird. I guarantee you when his family heard about that car, they were freaking out. Well, that's what I've heard, but where did you hear that though? Because I don't know. I mean, I have heard that from where did we hear that from? I can't even remember now. Was that on the Dateline thing? God, it's all muffled together now. Oh, really? Oh my God. Oh, yeah. Oh, was that? Wait. No, it was before the murders. I'm pretty sure it was before. Oh, okay. Okay, talk about it. Yeah, him doing that security camera thing, that was before. God. The thing is, we knew they weren't handling this right in the very beginning, but whenever they caught him pretty quickly, I think we kind of gave him a pass right then. But they actually didn't. They did not handle notifying the family correctly, not in my opinion. And tearing the house down was freaking unbelievable to me. So yeah, that I would say that might be a very good thought, is that they made this deal because everyone's going to be able to see how they fuck this up every way. And all they do is complain. The people in that town, all they've done is complain about media, about parents. It's really disgusting. The chief, tracksuit guy, all of those people. I know, that's so crazy. It is, Morgan. That's the whole thing. And then the parents are like calling, different people are calling the parents saying, something's going on, on that road and all this stuff. There should have been a police officer at their house, at their door, before they heard all this bullshit. No, they jacked this up. And the fact that it just keeps on and on going with the fucked up bullshit. Oh my God, to hear him just say that. Oh God. It's so sad. That sick, twisted MFer. No, because I think every single parent was called by another student saying, you know, something's going on over here. Ugh. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. I'm actually anxious to listen to the rest of that book. I think there's almost 2.5, 3 hours left of it, I think. Yes, right. See the way that oh my God. I know, and he's like, Ethan's not here. And we all know that's what is so hard every time. Like, for me, that's when it's really difficult when you have to tell somebody else what happened. And I don't, and I'm just talking about a death in general where nobody was murdered. Hello, Don. Yeah, what video do you mean? You know what I thought was super weird was the way that just a week ago he had a really short hair and his eyebrows were all trimmed down, and today it's like it all grew back like normal. What the hell? This guy is so weird. Oh, what the hell is that? I don't know how he got right back to normal from today. Yeah, see? Weird, right? That is so strange. I know, I don't either. My God. Jerry, did you hear me earlier? I said it's like he's this elongated face, whatever that shit was. That was so weird. But that's what comes to my mind, like he's some kind of werewolf or something. Like, how did that happen? It's not funny, but elongated face there. Oh my Lord. Oh my God, exactly. And the way you talked about, like a cat with prey and stuff, like they don't see it coming. They don't know that somebody's watching you and shit. It's so creepy. God. No, there's not. There's not anything funny about it. But seeing him, all of his hair growth in this week, I swear that's my mind just went to elongated face theory. Right. Yep. And even people that knew him knew he was weird. But that's just it. Everybody knows somebody's weird, Like my daughter used to even say, when that one shoots up a school, we're going to be like, yeah, we knew he was weird, shit like that. But I mean, just because somebody's weird doesn't mean that they're going to go and kill people. I don't fucking know. I just hope that people never like me enough to want to stalk me. Not trying to be all popular like that. Right. I'm weird too, but as I've said before, I'm way too fucking lazy to commit crimes. I'm not digging a grave. I'm not doing any of that. I'm too lazy for that shit. But I think his parents knew. I think his parents knew that he did that. I think that dad flew down there. They said, go get that psycho. Because that's way too weird. If there's going to be flying involved and he's going home for Thanksgiving, you would just fly him home for Thanksgiving and that would be it. What they did was way too weird. That's not something you do. Shirt off their back. I know. I know. I know. Yeah, you're right, Morgan. I know. My daughter told me that one time too. She's like, okay, when something happens to me, don't go around acting like I was some kind of saint, okay? Yeah, I wonder. Right. Exactly. Let's make sure that nobody likes me so much that they just need to kill me. You know. Yeah, I wonder. I am seriously wondering about what all his family does know. Right, Tough? He lived weird. He was a freaking complete weirdo. But you know what's really strange? As much as he was very much to himself, very much a loner, all that kind of stuff, he was very argumentative, right? Like he was confrontational. Yes, I think so. That's kind of what we learned, what we think we learned today, that he can actually withdraw that. He can go and say he's had ineffective counsel before the sentencing. I don't see how that can happen. He already said he did it. This is way too weird. Yep, exactly right. Yeah, I think they knew. Can you imagine? Because the whole country talked about it. And if that happened and your kid was anywhere near it, you're paying attention to it because. And then you say, then they hear about they're looking for a certain kind of car. Yeah, they were like, oh my God, he did this. Me too. That exactly right. Yes, and he was very confrontational with women. Remember, they had to tell him he couldn't keep trying to, the way he would grade the papers for females. And so what sense does any of it make? Why is it that you put in there that he can't appeal if he can fucking appeal? Why even say it? Oh my God. Yeah, I agree, Tough. It's games. It is games. That is what Ann Taylor has done the whole time. Oh, it's so frustrating. Right. Exactly. You know what? If you weren't such a psycho, you wouldn't be an incel, okay? In the book, it talks about that girl who actually did like him. Until she found out that he was using her to get drugs. And remember, he sent that weird text. Like, what did she say? Like a year later or something. No one had talked to him or anything. And then he just sent a text like, still love you guys, or some weird. God, I got to listen to this stuff like multiple times. Yeah, exactly. No, it's very annoying. 100%. I know. He's done. Yeah. You can't tell me he didn't kill animals or something as a kid. Like he's done some shit. Remember even the dog that somebody, what happened? Something happened to a dog in that area. I bet he did that too. Right? Isn't that so? Because she said, sent like a super strange text. Yep. 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 Yep, Dawn, that's right. Buddy, the dog was skinned. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, when this first happened, that's what everybody said, that somebody had just skinned a dog. I don't know if it was him or not. But that can't, they were thinking that. Yeah, they never proved it. Right. But my thinking is not everybody can just do shit like that. Not everybody has that in them. But that would, I mean, the way you hear about serial killers and shit, they usually were, killed animals and different shit. He does. He absolutely does. All right, I'm going to go to the restroom really quick, and I'm going to have Mr. Snotty's going to tell you guys something really cool, I think. Hold on.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you all for joining, and thanks for participating in the chat. I appreciate that. Hey, Top Hats. Very nice to see you. Very nice to see you all. We've been actually a little bit fortunate this week here. We've had a little bit of a cool spell. Today it was just a little bit over 100 degrees. It was pretty nice. Pretty nice out there today. I was out running around a little bit. And it wasn't awful. It wasn't awful. And that new Honda that we got has remote start, so you could just leave it sitting there and leave the air conditioning on, ventilated seats on, walk out, hit the fob a couple of times, and it starts right up, puts the AC on, and all that. By the time you get to it, it's all cool. All cooled off. kind of a nice thing. I think I can get used to that. Actually, I can definitely get used to that. But I even thought, because this morning when I got up, it was like less than 80 degrees outside. It was like, I think I woke up around 6 or 7 o'clock. I was like, wow, this is nice. I could go play golf today, but then I farted around. Next thing I knew, it was like 9:30 or whatever. I hadn't even eaten breakfast yet, and so I didn't go do that. But maybe tomorrow, I don't know. I'm going to see what the weather's going to look like tomorrow. I'll see if I can pull that off. Play that exec course over near my house here, which is a short course. Play it 3 hours. 3 hours. It's very nice. So if you get out there at like 7, 8, 9, 10, you're done by 10. It's not even 100 degrees out yet. So see if that can happen. I'll update you guys on that. But last weekend, this would be a good time for anybody that's in the chat that needs to go take a little bathroom break or whatever. I'm just gonna meander on here. Last weekend I played in a simulator with my son. Oh my gosh, that was fun. Well, it was damn near one of the hottest days of the year. It was like 110 or 150 degrees outside. We played inside in the simulator. We had the bay to ourselves, and I rented the bay for an hour. We played an exec course 1.5 times in that hour's time. We had a great time. That was on Sunday. Had an absolutely fantastic time. And so if I don't get out and play on the actual green this weekend, I'll seriously consider getting in the simulator. If I don't get on the green this week, which is only 1 day left of the week, I'll seriously consider getting in the simulator this weekend and playing, because I mean, I don't know how you can avoid this. It's $40 a head, so it would have been $80 for the two of us to play on the course. If we play in the simulator, it's $60 for both of us, because you rent the simulator by the hour. So it's like, wow, hard to beat that. And you're inside, and you can bring your own beer and snacks and stuff. So you just have a great time. We had a great time.
Yeah, that's wild, huh?
It is wild. We had an absolutely fantastic time. So. I see the snot rocket looks like she's ready to get back in the chair.
Yeah, actually, this weekend, Mr. and Mrs. Queen came over also.
Oh, right.
Yep. We had a lovely visit
Yeah, that was really nice. Very nice.
from the Queen and Mr. Queen.
Yep. It's funny, the YouTube stars get their name and their husbands get Mr. YouTube star's name.
Right.
That's just the way it goes, folks. All right, back to the snot rocket. Thanks for entertaining my nonsense. I appreciate it. That's right, Top Hats. It is so cool. I'm considering installing one in my garage so I can just play out there anytime I want. Thank you all.
Well, he's thinking about that as a franchise thing, right?
Right.
They franchise those, but
Right.
I know, not wild. And what's funny, what did you say? You played a course in
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Played it 1.5 times.
Yep. Did you can pick? No, I think he definitely that guy did creepy shit. You don't just wake up one day and just start doing shit like that. Like, I mean, I don't think you can do that. The thought of stabbing somebody is like the freakiest thing in the whole world to me. I can't imagine penetrating somebody's skin like that. I don't think I could ever give somebody a shot. I feel sure that I could not. I don't ever want. But look at how many times, like whenever somebody gets caught drunk driving, that's not the first time they did it. It's not the only time they did it. That's ridiculous to ever assume that. When somebody gets caught, some pedophile gets caught, that's not the first time they did it. If you got caught doing it 2 times, that means you did it probably minimum of 20 times. Right. I feel like he didn't even see Dylan. I think he was in such a state. He was so happy with himself, I think, because he was caught off guard by Xana and Ethan, I think. I think he was. But I think he was in some kind of happy state. I don't even know what to call it. I think he didn't even see her. Thank God. Thank God. Whatever kept him from killing her, thank God that happened. So easily could have been 6, at least 5, right? Right, that's what I think. Right, tough. He was just not. Was the story about Epstein? Jonathan, I think that possibly and I have a few different thoughts about that. And I'm not quite sure. I will say that today the Senate did pass for us to quit funding media, and I never thought that would happen in my life, and I'm very happy about that. The same. Yeah, I haven't looked into everything that was said today, but oh my God, Morgan. Wow. Right. I'm curious what you guys think too. Who said that? Who said that? Who do you think said? Was it Ethan or was it Brian? Yes, yeah. I always want to ask everybody what they think about that, and I forget to ask. Oh yeah, I've seen him too, Jonathan. I have, and he yeah, I don't. He didn't kill himself. Not in my opinion. 100% didn't. I don't believe that for a second. Oh yes, they are. Yes, they are going to. That's what I'm saying. The way that these people's lives have been, the parents, the family, these other kids. How anybody can be hostile towards any of these people is so gross to me. I know. But then, okay, what we've also learned in this book and stuff, that they believe Ethan was asleep. He was turned towards the wall, right? like it was Brian that said that. But I've always wondered what everybody else thinks about that. Right? How weird, huh? I'm here to help you. Oh, God, it's so creepy. Oh. They act like they know. Well, I don't know. Who's they? The James Patterson. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you guys. Oh my God. I knew there was something else. Right? That's so weird though that we've never talked about that. And I think about it a lot. I know. Yes, yes. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. Megyn Kelly talked to Kelly Ward. So the James Patterson book was written by James Patterson and Kelly Ward. And Megyn Kelly interviewed her about this. I knew there was something else.
Written this book with the very famous James Patterson.
Yes.
And it's called, hold on a second, I want to make sure I have it here. It's called The Idaho 4, An American Tragedy. Okay, again, by Vicki Ward. I'm my guest today, Vicki Ward and James Patterson, everybody knows. And you've interviewed, my understanding is, over 300 people to try to get to the bottom of some new facts around these horrific murders. And one of the things you've managed to confirm, you tell me what the big news items are, but is that you do believe that Maddie Mogen was the target.
Was the target. Yes. And, I went and traced Kohberger's footsteps and, the routes he drove that the police know about. And there's only one place you could park behind the house where they all lived on King Road in Moscow. And when you park your car there at this cul-de-sac at the back, the house is no longer there. But when it was there, you had a direct view really onto one person's bedroom, and that was Maddie Mogen. And in fact, I went there one time with a young woman and friend of theirs who lived next door, a woman called Lexi Pattinson, and she would say that she would come out to her car most evenings, because that's where she parked her car, and they all had the lights on, glaring brightly, never thinking that anyone would be watching from the road, and that she would see most evenings Maddie in the window at her vanity, curling her hair, doing her makeup, and it used to make this young friend of theirs smile. Of course, she no longer was smiling when she thought that it appeared from the police report that Brian Kohberger would have been sitting in his car watching the house at least 12 times prior to the night of the murders on November the 13th, 2022. So
And
that
would
was
have
a
known
thing.
exactly what room she was
yeah.
in and where to
And
go
I
when
bet-
he entered.
Yes, and that it seemed from the social media digital footprint that he had, he had slipped into the DMs of all three of the women, but the only one.
See, we never knew that. Did you hear what she just said? I never had heard that before. He had DM'd all three of the girls. Yep. I had never heard that. Yep. That's what I thought too. But yeah, she explains it a little more, how they got down to that. I knew there was something else I wanted to play for you guys.
Of them who he really liked the photos and all the rest of it of by herself was Maddie. If he liked pictures
Oh, wait,
of
so
Kaylee
that's new. I did not know that. He
That-
he actually
yes,
did
so-
slip into the DMs of the other.
yes
Of
yes
who?
no that is in there, that is in the court record, but my understanding from some of the families is that, so for example, while he might have liked pictures of Kaylee, Maddie's best friend, it was always when Kaylee was in pictures with Maddie. Maddie was, I think, the only one who there were pictures of her solo that he clearly had an internet relationship with. Whether or not he had met her in person, the close friends, I say this in the book, the very close friends, including the young woman and her boyfriend who actually found the bodies inside the house the next day, it's their belief, and obviously it's their best guess at this point, it's their belief, given that none of them recognized Kohberger, but they figured that he was a vegan, that Maddie had worked at this restaurant, the Mad Greek in Moscow, where they served a lot of vegan food. And she was devastatingly pretty, blonde. And it's their.
Did you guys notice that she looks so much like her mother? In that one night in Idaho, that is the first time I've ever seen her mom that I can recall. She looks so much like her mom. Oh, God, this all breaks my heart so bad. That's crazy.
Best guess that people were always asking her out, and she was always sort of flicking her hair and saying no. I mean, she had a serious boyfriend, but that is their best guess, that's what happened. I do also detail in the book how Kohberger, because he was a criminology PhD student, he had studied serial killers and spree killers, and he'd studied Ted Bundy, but he'd also studied, when he was a psychology major as an undergrad at DeSales University, he'd studied a guy called Elliot Rodger, who was sort of hero of the Incel movement, the involuntary celibate movement. And Elliot Rodger had been a college student out in California, going between two college towns in the same way that Kohberger years later was going between Pullman and Washington State, where he was in college, and Moscow, which is where the University of Idaho is. These two college towns are just a 10-mile drive apart. Back in 2014, this guy, Elliot Rodger, was a college student out in Santa Barbara, and he made all these videos and wrote a manifesto of how he was going to go out and murder the sorority girls, who had rejected him. He wrote that he was going to take revenge on his childhood best friend called Maddie. And there were.
Okay, that's what we were talking about. Top Hats, that's that reference to Maddie right there, right? I think he was Papa Roger. I think he was. Yes, there it is right there. Remember, we even backed the book up a little bit. Yeah. In case anybody doesn't know, we're playing the book on my Rumble channel. We're almost done with it, but we knew, yeah. You thought you heard some reference to Maddie. So weird, isn't it? Well, that picture of him. Yeah, and this Maddie reference. Oh my God. How weird. See, these are not things that you can. You responded to the post? Uh-huh. Right, Top Hat, right. Just the picture of him. I'm sorry, the picture is. Wow, you were in that group? Oh my God. See, we never really watched that. We we heard about all of it. Wow. And you corresponded with him in that, like, I don't mean that weird. See, that would give me such chills if I had been, just seeing that the picture looks just like him. Oh my God. Ugh. Oh my God. To think that just some incidental correspondence with somebody like that can cause this. Right. Oh my gosh. Yes, chills. Holy crap. Wow. That is so crazy. And the person who ran that group said what they ended up, I don't know how it works, but they blocked him somehow, and that meant all of his stuff went away. Yes, Tough. I think you're right. Yeah. He was so toying with people. Yep. Right, Top Hat. That's what I'm saying. Just, oh. And we don't know. You know what? I tell you guys all the time that statistically, we know a pedophile. We have to. That's just a fact of life. And it's not as if I've never gone around accusing anybody of anything, but I have always said my instincts. I'm not making an accusation, but when I feel weird, I fucking get the hell out. Anytime I feel creeped out, I just say, you know what? I'm walking away from this shit. Right? That was, like Tuff said, that he was dangling. He was. Oh, God. Yep. Yep. The woman who ran that group, she said that that they didn't want to, or they blocked him and didn't realize that would actually remove all of his posts, and she wished she hadn't done it. So weird. Oh my God. And see, I just recently saw the picture of Papa Roger. Oh my, right? See, he loved it. He loved this. This is what is so sick, okay? So think about it on this term, okay? He was allowed to go and play with people like that, right? After having done that, he was allowed to go into, who knows what all groups he went into, what all he did. But he was allowed to go in there and say all of his stuff, and the parents weren't even allowed, they were not even given the courtesy, the respect of having a uniformed officer show up at their house before all kinds of other, they heard so much other shit. Maddie's mother heard enough shit going on there, and couldn't get a hold of her, that she just started driving there. He has been allowed to do so much fucking shit. And if he is allowed to withdraw this plea, you talk about fucking pitchforks. Oh my God. Really, you thought that? Holy shit. Wow. Right. No, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's what you hear. Look at the movie Backdraft. Like, yeah, that's. Oh my goodness. Exactly. Yes, he did. He went back there. That he did. Yep. But, like Top Hats and I both talked about this also, Jerry. Like, for us, like, I don't know. I never looked at that group. It was only secondhand information that we had heard about it. I'd never seen that picture until recently, because that is so freaking creepy. Right. That's what we're hearing now, Morgan. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, gives me such chills. They will reassign. Well, this is my thing though. Okay. Again, I'm not an attorney. I'm not anybody. I'm just a regular person. But if your plea deal says you can't appeal, then why the fuck can you appeal? I mean, am I taking crazy pills? Because that's the exact kind of shit that is making everyday normal people lose their fucking shit. If you can't appeal, then how the fuck can you appeal? Just don't even say it. Don't put in there he can't appeal if he can fucking appeal. I mean, oh my God. Right. Exactly, Jerry. Like, am I crazy? How do you even say this? How do you even how does any of this fucking shit come out of your mouth? Because that was the one thing that really won me over on this deal. Because my idea is, yes, you get death penalty, but you don't really ever die. You don't ever actually get, you just appeal. That was what really won me over. And again, not my business. Other than a citizen, it is kind of my business. But that fucking judge said today, he's going to release this stuff after the sentencing and appeals process. Okay. Oh, of course he has. You know what? You know what I think about that? Right here. Fucking blow me. Fuck off. You better be trying to talk to God. You better be doing that, you stupid sick fuck. Yes, top hats. Yep. I just can't deal with it. I just can't. You're talking out of both sides of your fucking ass. Which is it? If part of this plea agreement was no appeals, then how are we talking about appeals? I mean, just shut all the way up. Why don't you come out and say, listen, okay, let's be very clear. Okay, we don't want media asking questions. Okay, that's not a thing. We don't want that. We want to say he can't appeal while at the same fucking time we say after his appeal process, and you wonder why every tax-paying person that goes to work and tries to live a decent life sits here and says, you're fucking making me lose my mind. Yep. Right. I did hear that too, Morgan. Yep. Because a lot of people really believed it was. Like Betty. Betty ended up making it in the fucking documentary. No, he did. He did. I did hear that. Yeah, I shouldn't say that as if I know because I wasn't in the group, but I did hear that. So if this man repents, That's the only way. Well, Top Hats, that's my understanding. But let me just tell you something. God does know your heart. So just because he's going to church, and he has a sick heart because, to repent, if you don't mean it, that's not a thing. And God knows if his heart is genuine. That's my belief. I'm not trying to my belief is that God knows your heart. So he can go to church all day long, every single day. That doesn't mean anything. Yeah. 100%, Jerry. Of course. Of course, that's it. No, I know what you're saying, Top Hat. I'm not saying you were, but no, I knew you were. No, I know that. I know who you are, Top Hats. That's why we all have a good back and forth, right? Because we get each other. No, my idea is that he's going to church, like you said, to get out of that and to go do whatever he does. I think sometimes they do that maybe to help him in some kind of parole situation. I don't know. I don't really know, but it's like my aunt said one time, you can be a model prisoner. That's all well and good. How about whenever you are free to do as you please? How about how you behave then? To manipulate, 100%. That's it, right? To manipulate. Yep. And a lot of people fall for that shit. A lot of people do. I don't happen to be one of them. If you're good with God, then that's good. That's between you and God. Me and you, not good. We're not good. But I had an aunt that passed away in 96, 93. I don't know. It's been a long time. But let me tell you, this woman, if you said you wanted to go to church, she was like, okay, yeah. And, it didn't matter what the hell you'd done. And she'd be like, well, he's been going to church. Like, great. Still ripped everybody off. Okay, I'm not down with it. Because that a lot of people really fall for that shit. I'm not trying to stop anybody from getting right with God, but obviously I'm not God. That's exactly right, Top Hats. He's not going to stop being who he is, whether he attends church or not, or whether he is in prison or jail or whatever. No, that's exactly right. That's right. That's right. It's not my deal. 100%. It's not my thing. I mean, ultimately, in my opinion, that's who you better get right with. But I'm not down with the guy. Oh, I'd be terrified of it. Right. I would too. But I just don't, that to me doesn't say that he is remorseful or anything like that. That doesn't say that to me. And it's not my choice to make, but I don't think he is either. I think that, most of the time people are sorry that they got caught. And in his case, I feel like he's sorry he got caught because he wanted to do more. That's what I think about him. Yeah, but there are, there is a thing, Top Hats, that is like, an honor among thieves or something, right? Is that the way you say it? I don't know how. Like there are some things that even prisoners are not down with. Even other killers are not down with. And think about this, okay? Look, he couldn't manage to socialize and he couldn't function in normal everyday life situations with normal people, right? How do you think this guy's going to interact with prisoners? Because he's not like just a violent person. He's a fucking weirdo. Right. He doesn't, it's not like, as sick as he is, he I don't see him just like, getting along with other prisoners. I would say vast majority of the people who are in there for murder at least had a motive. I'm not saying it's right, but I don't think that a lot of people were in there, a lot of murderers are in there just that murdered for this sure pleasure of murdering somebody. Like he didn't steal anything. He just wanted to do that. I don't think most people who kill are doing it that way. That's just my thought. I don't fucking know. Right. I think it's a different thing. It is. I think it's different. Even if it's like you killed somebody because they were, sleeping with your girlfriend, or I don't know, you had some kind of beef with somebody at least. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly right. And I don't think that's going to go over well in jail. I don't think it will. 100%. He does think he's the smartest person. He's very smug. When he's so gross, he's actually smug. Yep. That's why I think he didn't see Dylan. He was in some kind of euphoria. Like he was on such a high, in such a state, that I don't think he even noticed her. Hey, Diamond, what? Oh, rearranging. Oh my God, Diamond. I glanced at that and I thought it said regarding. And I'm like, regarding furniture? What the fuck? Oh my God. Right. And we don't know that he didn't. Again, I don't, you can never convince me that the first time you get a DUI is the first time you drove drunk. No, that's not a thing. That's just not. I mean, if that happens, very, very rare. That's too funny, Diamond. You're so cute. Okay, I should finish this. Sorry. Start running my mouth.
You know, there are a lot of striking similarities between what Elliot Rodger went and did and Elliot Rodger's misogynistic views of women and Brian Kohberger's. I mean, the
Yes.
other thing the
We
book
talked
details.
about that a bit. Keep
Yeah,
going.
well, it shows, I think, how when Kohberger got to Washington State University, I mean, this is a guy who'd overcome heroin addiction and he'd come from, you know, extreme poverty. So you would think that to overcome all of that and arrive at a prestigious university to get a PhD in criminology, that this ought to be the apex of your career, but it all very quickly goes really wrong for Brian Kohberger because he is unable to keep his heinous views of women to himself.
See, yeah. No, I get that, Diamond, and that's what we're learning. So then there's you should not be able to put that in the plea agreement. You should not be able to, the parents, society, everybody involved should not be able to be under the impression that he can't. That's what's fucked up about that. Don't say it if it's not a thing. Right. I hope he gets shanked before. Yeah. I don't see other prisoners being down with his creepy fucking eyes even. He's gross.
Both in the classroom and outside of him. And I sort of show in the book how his tenure there, he completely unravels as he gets hauled in front of the administration again and again and again. And it's very clear that by the time that he commits the murders, he knows it's game over at Washington State University. He's lost his teaching position and therefore.
Yes, Top Hats. And I think that's what he thought. I think he wanted to do that. Yes. Can you imagine? Ugh. Yes. Acting like he was in that group. Yeah. Oh my God. Ugh. Freaking crazy.
His funding, he's basically not going to be welcome back there. And
Nothing left to lose.
He's got nothing left to lose. That's exactly right. Except to try and commit in his twisted mind the perfect crime. And I think the book explains also how the investigators, it almost was the perfect crime. His one mistake was leaving the knife sheath by Maddie Mogan's bed with the DNA on it. But you really can tell, well, the way I tell the tick-tock of the investigation, that the police really had nothing for weeks and weeks and weeks. They couldn't put the jigsaw puzzle together until the labs finally came back and they were able to use this quite new technique called investigative genetic genealogy, where they're able to use these websites like 23andMe, and they can construct a family tree from the tiniest speck of DNA. And once they were able to do that, then all the other pieces, then they were able to match the car and find the driver's license, and then they were able to look at the security cameras. But it all hung.
We've talked on the show before to Cece Moore, who's really the godmother of genetic genealogy. And she really was kind of saying, you can't It's not possible to be a serial killer and get away with it in modern day America because of this. Because one speck of touch DNA can be tracked down through these genetic genealogists they're only supposed to go through the public databases, but it came out
Right.
in this case that they did go through the private ones.
They did.
And they nailed Kohberger's father as having some link to this speck of DNA. They could tell this was
Right.
the father of the killer, basically the hit that they found in their genetic genealogy. And then it was just a matter of time before they got Brian Kohberger's actual cheek swab and said, no, this is actually the perfect match for the DNA that's on this knife sheath. She's like, it's not like it was during the 70s where you can have a Ted Bundy or you can have a son of Sam, or you can have somebody, going weeks or months or longer with lots of DNA left on the scene, but just no way to pin it down unless you already had the perp in the system. It's different today. Since President Trump was sworn in, his administration has made enormous progress at a breakneck pace. But don't forget, while they're moving mountains for the good of the nation.
Okay, sorry about that. No, he definitely was going to continue. And you're right. I bet you in his perfect world, he was going to be out committing these crimes and then be part of this or run this group of people looking for that person. Right. No, they can. I know. And that's that's a tough one for me, because I got to be honest. Like, when it comes to something like this, you're thankful for that, right? Because he was going to do this. But you also like your freedom, because we also know that, our own government will pin shit on you if they want to. We know that can happen. We know it does happen. It's such a slippery slope kind of thing, right? I know. That picture is so gross. Ugh. Ugh. Have you been listening to the book, Diamond, on Rumble? I already feel like I'm going to listen to it again after we finish this. Because that's so weird. Top Hats, that night listening to the book, you thought you heard a reference to Maddie. And we backed it up. And we didn't. But that right there, she said that. So many little things I miss sometimes. Oh, okay. I know. It really does. It really does. And I end up missing some things, but I get so engulfed. Like that first night, I was so tired, but I didn't want to stop listening. And I thought about you, Jerry, because I'm like, okay, thank God, because I know I'm going to listen to this book no matter what. But I always have a thing with the narrator. Like, sometimes they just bug me and I just can't. Thank God I can listen to this one. No, I agree, Top Hats, very much so. I'm telling, there's so much with this stuff, right? Between listening to this documentary and then the book, And then Lori Daybell shit, like it's just so much. And I'm really excited to show you guys. I think maybe tomorrow. What is today? Thursday? What is today? I think today is Thursday. Yeah. I'll show you guys what Queen and I were working on this week, last weekend. Something I've been working on for a while. And it's kind of coming together. A project I've been working on. And so I'm excited to show you guys. It's a gift we're going to give from all of us to a lot of the people involved in the Daybell case, whole saga. I know. I wondered about that. I know. I can't believe how much has been going on that I don't even know what's happening with them. Top hats. It makes my stomach hurt that I don't know. They're just off doing their thing, huh? That's so crazy. That's so good though, right? It is so good. It's sad, but but it's what's supposed to happen. Oh, thank you, Jonathan. And I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question earlier. I'm kind of behind on some of that stuff right now, but I will look into more of that and we will talk about it again. There's so much going on. So many things happening. So I didn't mean to be rude, just so you know. And thank you very much for saying that. I don't believe he took his own life. No, not for 1 second. No, I don't believe. I don't believe that he could have. The scenario there that he had to work with, I don't think that was even possible. Right. His brother didn't think so. Even if, because a lot of times people don't want to believe that somebody did. I get that. I don't know. Never been in that situation, but I can understand where people would say that. Right. I don't think it was possible. When you look at the scene, I don't think it was even possible. And what a lot of people say is that he actually thought he was getting out. They say he had spoke to his doctor about being constipated, actually. Yeah, we've seen it. Yeah, there are pictures of it. And he did have, there was somebody in the cell. I don't know, somebody near him. They're fibbing about so much shit. Who knows, right? You won't watch any of it because that doll is. No, that has me creeped out. I don't know that much about Annabelle, but it does creep me out. You can't deny that that's weird. Yeah, I think it's creepy as shit. I'm not trying to get too involved with that. That is super weird. Have you guys seen the guy that was Stop it, Jerry. Oh my God. I don't know anything about it, but I don't want to. Like, it freaks me out. Right. I'm not trying. I'm not trying to mess with Annabelle at all. Oh my God. How weird. Okay. I don't think he was a cellmate, but he was near there. The guy that was a yeah. Nicholas. Oh my God, how do you say that? Tartaglione. This guy had killed people with his own hands, like several people. I think he was a police officer at one time. Yeah. This guy had killed people with his own hands. That's my guess. That's my thinking. Hold on a second. Oh my God. Yeah. Don't creep me out anymore. The whole thing freaks me out. Oh my God. Stop it. Yeah. She's totally trolling Top Hats. That's the only way you could see that. Look at this guy. This guy was, look at him. Former cellmate. See? Ex-New York cop who was once Jeffrey Epstein's cellmate will spend the rest of his life behind bars. Yeah. After he killed 4 people with his hands. He killed people with his hands. Yeah. My guess is this is who killed Jeffrey Epstein. He didn't kill himself. He just didn't. That's and saying that shit to us is insulting our intelligence. Yeah, remember this guy? So yeah, I'm not even gonna entertain that. I refuse to entertain that he killed himself. That's completely stupid. I'm not having any part of it. And then they come off with this stupid fucking video. Like I can't. I can't do that. I mean, you would think I was doing their fucking technical work. Good grief. It's ridiculous. But okay, I'm going to get off here. It's late. So I'm going to end this. And thank you guys so much for the conversation tonight. I absolutely really enjoyed that. It was a good conversation, in my opinion. I hope you guys feel the same way. And I am going to get the rest of that book up and done soon. Like, I don't know. I have a jigsaw puzzle I'm working on over here, which I'm really loving. So I might just do that. And get this book. Yeah, it's all, check this out. It's all hummingbirds. My aunt gave me this puzzle. Let me show you. Look it, it's all hummingbirds. Isn't that so cool? I love jigsaw puzzles. I do. I know, I'm a goof troop. But it is, isn't it super cool? I love it. It's so weird. That's what happens when I wake up in the middle of the night and I go to the bathroom and I come have a cigarette. I work on puzzle for a little bit. I love it. Oh yeah, I have. Actually, no. Yep. When I look at it, I have them all separated, but that's so funny. Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna glue it together when I get it done. That's funny. All right. Thank you guys so much for the conversation. I so loved it. And I appreciate you guys very much. And yeah, Jonathan, hopefully I will have some more about Epstein tomorrow. I'm going to try to catch up on that. I'm going to try to get back on a groove here. Thank you guys so much. I love you. I love you too, Jerry. Thank you. Yes, exactly, Top Hats. Thank you guys for the great company. Good company. You guys are awesome. Love you. Okay. You had to do it, Jerry. Oh my God. All right. Annabelle and Ira. Good night. Bye.